Commissioner Vance, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Clay, I've been on the board just a very short period of time, but I've done a lot of reading. And the issue that I have with the original MOU that came in regarding to NetRep, it was basically referring to dissolve networks into what they referred to then as a hub. And based on the creation of networks, it was created by the city of Bristol, Kingsport, Bluff City, and Sullivan County to come together as a partnership. And in the bylaws, it says that it takes 2/3 vote of each of the partners to agree to dissolve networks. Me as a representative for Sullivan County, I don't have the authority to vote to reverse a decision that was bylaws made back that says that it takes 2/3 vote to create networks partnership. And I think the last 2 years in spending trying to get up to the point you're trying to get to, and I agree there should be some opportunities of doing some stuff as regional. Now, this week at the meeting that was presented, it was basically saying that we were looking at partnering with the other surrounding counties, and they identified them as Carter County, Unicoi County, Washington County, and so forth like that. Has any of those people from those counties have been even entertained the ideal of partnering with networks?
In the past, we've talked to some of those that come to us, and it just hasn't been. Of course, we partner with Hawkins, and right now, and then Unicoi and Carter are with NetRep. So that's 5 of the 8. They're obligated in these 2 organizations together. So we've talked through other people to, and I want to say, it's so removed. I don't even know the interest. And it was while this was going on, it was more of a rumor mill thing. So I hesitate in saying it, but we did hear that that Hancock County would be watching this. I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody there. Well, but no, and I've talked to Greene County. Now they have a new CO, and he started like the day before COVID to shut the economy down. So we've been on Zoom meetings. We haven't done a deep dive into this yet.
I think for the possibility of success of doing anything on a regional approach is that you're going to have to remove the ability of dissolving networks completely, because or NetRep becoming the lead northeastern Tennessee hub or the economic development source to go for this region. And a little bit of history for the commissioners. When this was created, networks was created. Before that, the cities of Bristol and Kingsport and Sullivan County had their own economic development people. At that point in Sullivan County, it was Jack Lawson. And so it was a big challenge to getting the cities and the county to come together, which was under Mayor Venable's tenure as county mayor, is to pull all of our economic development tools together to create networks. So I think for this to be successful, it would have to be on the same format that we did with Hawkins County. It would be an individual agreement with these other surrounding counties they want to come on, because if you look at what was give out to the meeting the other day, what NextWorks was challenged to do, if we combined into one regional approach, and as I asked you on the phone, it's going to take an extensive amount of increased cost of doing all those tasks that were identified in there, and those governments that if Carter County come on board, for an example, that they're going to have to fund. I don't think there's going to be additional funding from Sullivan County or Bristol or Kingsport or Bluff City to be marketing Washington County or Carter County. So, but going back to the original MOU that was the first thing presented to me when on the board, I actually reached out and read the information, and there's no way without this full county commission voting to basically go into an agreement in an MOU that's ultimately is going to be dissolving networks. I don't have that authority as a board member, because the networks was set up by a partnership agreement between the 4 entities. And I don't know if some of the board members down there understand that that we have a legal obligation to stand behind the way the creation of networks was established. And none of us elected officials have the authority to reverse that original decision that set up networks. So I think we spent 2 years or so on something that probably would never worked anyway. And it should have been looked at on how is the strategy of pulling this together. So I wanted to bring those points up to you, and not to discourage you, but I think there's people on that board down there, they don't understand that there's no way without the governing bodies going back and voting to change what was originally agreed upon that can be changed. And then any changes going forward will have to be taken back to the partners.
Yeah.
Could I help?
Yes, sir.
And I may not help. I may just muddy the water more. I respectfully disagree with my colleague. I haven't read those bylaws within the last 24 hours, but be assured that no change in networks could be affected without this body. And this body can do about anything it wants to. If it's, there's a price to pay, but nothing can happen without a majority vote of this body.
Yeah, and I would, look, I'm not going to stand here and swear and bet anything on what every single board member is aware of. I'm not in their head, but I would be surprised to learn of a board member who didn't understand that. If we were to vote to do something like that, we realize that we're not voting to do it. We're voting to recommend it to move up to our investing partners to do it. And that is an important clarification. I'm glad you said it. But no, I don't think.
Well, see, the other day at the meeting down there, the other day when Pat Breedy made the motion to approve and also the MOU, I feel like I was being put in a position to take a vote that was not been approved by the governing bodies. Yeah,
we did get to the point, but what we'd be voting to do would be to say that we have come to the conclusion that this is in the best interest and we want our investors to vote on it. We know what happened. We'd have to come and you'd have to vote on it. Does that make that? I know it's semantics, but it's very important. It would be what is our vote as a board, whether or not we should bring it before you to do it. We know that. I mean, everybody knows it. We go over it time and time again. So now again, Pat Breedy is new to the board, so he might have lost sight of that detail for a moment, but we had orientation with Pat. And I mean, but I think people know it, but no, and we vote on, it's a dramatic change. And we've done some things that aren't really dramatic that we've still come to you guys. I can't think of the last one, but I'll call our attorney and say, bylaws, do we need everybody vote on this? Which is, I don't need to come to vote on if we're going to hire somebody new. I mean, that's obviously, in fact, the board doesn't even vote on that. I have that ability. We have things that I know I have to get a board approval of, or I can do on my own, and the board knows it has things it can do. And the other things, there are certain things, rare things. That's definitely one of them. Changing the whole outcome like that. Everybody knows if we were to say we want to do it, we can't say it. We recommend it. And I don't think we were close to that, but everybody knows that. Well, I don't know if everybody throughout the region knows it.
When we got to the point of them, and I mentioned that this had not come before the county commission, it had been before. Kingsport, actually, I don't know if Kingsport did by resolution the way Bristol did by resolution supporting this move, but no representative of Kingsport, Bristol, or Bluff City, I don't think, and Mark, I know you wouldn't either, would vote for a significant change in the governance of networks without coming back to this body and getting a consensus at the very minimum. and a majority at a consensus at the maximum, majority at the minimum. So I believe we got back to the right place when that motion was tabled. Go ahead, Mark.
Also, what was proposed down there this week, except the last paragraph, that I thought that was probably the best move of looking at coming up with a regional type approach of asking the other counties and figuring out who the players in this. Just like one elected official said, well, I doubt Greene County and Greenville Partnership's going to basically drop what they're doing or join forces with networks up here. So I don't want it to get out in the public that Sullivan County or Networks Board is not for doing some regional things together. But I think by what was originally that came in front of me since I was there is that you're basically dissolving or working in the direction of completely dissolved networks, and I'm against that. But I am for bringing other partners in to where we can promote the region as a whole. But Sullivan County has got a lot invested in our economic development. We've got a lot of money in land. We've made a strong commitment for the last 18 years. And I understand other counties have not made that commitment. And maybe there is an opportunity to help the other counties in bringing the region together to where we are the one central location for Tennessee Department of Economic Development to come to get development going on as a region. So I think it still has merit, but I think it's about the way we do it. And I think that can be done.
You and I are exactly on the same page with this, Mark. I would never support dissolving networks. Even if our marketing went to a regional hub, we still own property, need to manage it, need to continue to develop it. So Networks Sullivan Partnership needs to stay an entity regardless for that very purpose. Even at the most extreme outcome, you need to keep that, period. But yeah, and I'll be mindful to be more clear to everyone that what we're talking about is, do we want to recommend things to the investors? And thanks for telling me. I didn't mean for any ambiguity. We don't, but I don't think people believe that that's going on. And,
We've got a couple more questions, Clay, if we can.
Yep.
Commissioner Broughton, you're recognized. Oh, you pushed your button, push it again. There you go.
Thank you.
We're
Thank
back,
you, Mayor.
We're back to the old system.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Walker, thank you for showing up. I'll be real quick. I applaud the effort y'all are doing. I understand the principle behind it. I think the one fatal flaw is you made the statement that it's like living with somebody. Well, to do that, you got to like them.
Well, again, my experiences vary with that, but let's go with that.
Okay. Where I'm going with that is this. I've been to different events and I've heard Appalachian Highlands brought up, and you don't need to turn the air conditioner on. It gets chilly at times. Until you start a grassroots effort, you should have come and been with me whenever we're trying to discuss 911 consolidation. And we're going to be discussing school stuff coming up soon. You need to be there for those because everybody's got their walls built. Everybody's got their towers, and you're not getting near them.
Yeah.
And until we overcome that, like I said, you got to like somebody before you can live with them. And that's just not the case right now.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry. If that's the case and that keeps us back, I'm sorry. And it would be shameful, and I have seen communities do it that fight in every other aspect and do this. And I'm not saying it's easy, it's not. But so I grew up in Paducah, Kentucky. And I don't know how it would be, that's far, far away from here. That's in Western Kentucky. And I've learned to really appreciate some of the football rivalries and high school rivalries that we have here. I don't have a dog in the hunt. I didn't go to any of those schools. But I've never seen a rivalry anywhere I've been that's any more just mean, hateful than Paducah Tillman High School and Mayfield High School in adjoining county. They were one of the first football games to be put on national television, a high school football game. And people argue about those games for years. I didn't go to either high school, but I'm well aware of that. And I've seen them do some things together, and it's always made harder by any type of disagreement. It's usually something bigger than the sports. I know we all refer to that. It's usually because of a road or an issue, but there are 911 dealing with that who paid for this when they got the benefit out of that. It is hard. I mean, but your point's well taken, and I do appreciate it. I do believe in keeping trying until it's obvious, but you make a good point.
That's very good. We've got a couple more now. Angie, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, I guess it's hard for, and I'm probably speaking for more than just a few here. I hope that nobody expects us to sit here and vote on something or be willing to merge with NetRep. I think that there needs to be a lot more conversations with us because, you know, a lot of us don't know what is going on. You know, there's a lot of terms, like when you talk about like the investors and stuff, you know. I think that if we could get people in the room with us to explain a lot of things, and I've been to a lot of the regionalism meetings, but each meeting is the same. You know, they're explaining the same old thing. You know, if we could have some people come and speak to us from like NetRep and to show us what the future plan is. I don't want to know, okay, we're going to try to merge this first and then we'll go on from there. I would like to see a big, long-term future plan of what this regionalism and stuff will do. So that's my opinion.
Thank you.
I get a couple of thoughts jump into my mind, and I'm not. The first one being that I'm welcome. Like I can give you whatever level that I'm capable of giving anybody. We could set something up, made note to just say, hey, let's just have a talking so where everybody could come in and just ask questions, because I don't want to take for granted who knows what. And, you know, when and I don't want anybody to be embarrassed or reason to know certain terms or certain things. So we should get together in an environment that allows us to just do that. And if somebody wants to say, you know, when you talk about OEMs, when you're recruiting them, tell me what that means. When you talk about MROs at the airport, any term that we throw around, or the structure or history or different philosophies, we just ought to do that and just spend. So I'm looking to do that. Secondly, on the long term, that's kind of to the point of why, and I'm over this analogy already. I'm going to give credit to Bill Sumner now. I don't like it anymore about the living with somebody. Bill thought of that, not me. So, but it is a doing something that is commitment. It's a commitment to get to be the best we can be for delivering on our mission. So we're going to explore this, but we're not going to say it's forever. In fact, most regional economic development groups are not built to last forever by their very nature. It just doesn't work. There's a highly successful one down the road in the state, I guess, that's just recently breaking up. It's been great, but it ran its course. But that's why the, hey, let's think about doing it this way came from, because it's something we could do and learn as we go and develop and get it done. I mean, from my standpoint, I just be, look, I have a board that the mayors appoint, and I work at their to their wishes, and I bring my education, background, expertise to recommend we should do this, do this, do this, and I love my relationship I have with my leadership. And at the end of the day, if they tell me to do something that I don't want to do, but they're all do it, then that's what I do. And when I walk out of that room, it's what I do want to do. So I'm telling you now, I'm not advocating, I'm telling you my history, and is that regionalism can be tremendous if done right. If it's done wrong, stay away from it. And that's why we've been so guarded with things. And we're on the lookout. And I've told all of the mayors when I talk to them, I would never advocate. If I looked at a plan before me and it's like, we're all going to do better overall. Now this city might get left out, but overall we'll do better. I'm not going to advocate that. If you do this right, every single city, every single county should do better. Thus, overall, it does better. I kind of get off course of what you were saying.
That's fine. Go ahead. We need to wrap up. So you go ahead and then Dwight, and then we're going to wrap up.
I guess my question is, whenever you go in and nobody knows how the whole thing works.
Yeah.
You know, are you planning on doing tourism here? Are you doing industrial there? Are you doing retail here? You know, nobody has said anything to us about that. And I don't think it would be hard to get support for things that we know nothing about.
It's not decision time.
Yeah, I know that, but
yeah,
I mean.
But you're right. We're seeking those. Again, that's why I don't think we're ready yet.
Yeah.
I agree with you on all of that.
You know, I mean, we put a lot of money into networks, the county taxpayers here in Sullivan County, and I think it would be not a good decision for us when we didn't know where we're going with the taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. And Clay, if I can kind of help out, you're exactly right. And when we get to that decision point, it would have to be brought back and discussed. I want to recognize Commissioner King, and then I'd like to make a couple of statements, and I'll let Clay wrap up because we need to move on to other business. Commissioner King.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to maybe change the tone of this a little bit, something positive. What about land sales? What have you got anything going on land sales? You got anybody wanting to come in to build here? Give us some good news.
Good question.
It's only positive if I have the right answer, though. I say, but I think I do. And knock on wood. I mean, we're the finalists on some really exciting projects right now. And so most economic development projects don't get lost because they pick another community. Most get lost because they don't happen at all the way to the very end. So there's always that chance. But we're working with some, and again, I don't think it's any secret. The governor's talked about it. Commissioner Ross talked about it. When I came to Tennessee 17 years ago, first company I recruited was the music company's corporate headquarters that moved from Los Angeles to the Nashville area. California companies look at Tennessee and come, and we're working with two of them right now. One was in town last week, and to tell you again, the kind of profile we've gotten with the state, and we need to listen to them and what they want us to do. The governor called that company last night to talk to them on our behalf. It's a great project, and we're looking, and that's a Bristol project. We have a project that's in town now from California, looking at Kingsport and one place in Phipps Bend. We're competing with one other Tennessee community, and I don't know what other state. But yes, we're getting really close on a few really exciting deals. We're not there to say anything yet, but y'all keep us in your prayers. Keep whatever belief system you have, please send good vibes our way. Because COVID slowed it down a lot, but we're starting to get really, really busy in the later stages of deals. So thanks. Hopefully we'll be having something very positive very soon.
We'll be waiting for some news, an update or, announcement. There you go. We want an announcement.
I'll be happy to deliver that news.
Groundbreaking.
Yes, sir.
Get the shovels out.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dwight. I said we're going to wrap up, but I'm going to recognize Sam, and that's it.
Okay, Clay, I don't know that it's really been announced. Maybe it was and I missed it. You sold some property and they're moving dirt now next to the air freight FedEx down on Muddy Creek Road. And that company hasn't been announced, I don't think, to us.
Yeah, that's an unusual project because a company bought the purchase. We got to the point of the project where it was irreversible about, and then the company sold to a much larger company. Came to us and said, look, I know you guys are behind. What can we do? Because really he's obligated. We said, let's work it, find another company. So we announced the company that bought it, but working with him, we have another company we haven't announced. So he's got to get it to where he can deliver it to them, and we have the announcement. So really unusual deal, but you know, it's been sold for some time. Now it's being sold from that owner to someone else.
Yeah, and Commissioner Glover and I are trying to get the Mighty Creek Road widened. So that's good news for you. Clay, I'll ask you to wrap up. If I can have the privilege of characterizing what happened yesterday morning at the networks meeting, is that the networks board, who is represented, we have 5 county appointed representatives on that board, and was presented with a proposal to reply to a proposal from the net reps group in Washington County, Johnson City. And the motion was made to adopt that proposal and propose that to net reps as a solution to getting together. And that motion was tabled. Clay, you correct me if I'm wrong here. It wasn't a decision to go together with them. It was a decision to make a proposal to them. Any decision that came from that negotiation would come back to the county commission, to Bristol, and to Kingsport, and to Bluff City, and would have to be ratified. So we weren't that close. We're still not that close. I've said many times before that when network was formed, we only had to deal with 3 cities in 1 county, and we met for 2 solid years in secret in this courthouse. The mayors met out of sunshine because we weren't required to meet in sunshine, and that's the only way we worked it out. Had we been required to meet in sunshine, it would have never happened, because we had people at the table and people backed out. We had people at the table, people backed out. But it's not easy. Commissioner Broughton, you mentioned you got to like them. Well, you got to like them, but beyond that, it's got to be good for you.
Yeah.
And we got to get agreement that's good for us. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that traditional industrial development and recruitment is a part of the initiative that Governor Grandy and I started 2 years ago. COVID has stopped us, but we've continued to meet. We have had many meetings with the 8 mayors in the first Tennessee Development District. Many meetings, and it's all been very positive, and Clay's been part of those meetings. And those people are willing to consider and ask their governing bodies to consider going together to treat traditional economic development, industrial recruiting, tourism, workforce development, entrepreneurism. This body actually funded, because we had a unique opportunity of $250,000 from the state. You actually funded out of economic development money the start of the entrepreneurism. Now, we had Heath Gwynn scheduled to be here tonight, but he thought he might have COVID, and he went and took the test, and I told him not to come till we had the results of that test. So Heath will be here to report to you on some exciting things that are already happening, and we're going to invite our as part of the regional discussion we're having. And it's not going to be fast, and it's not going to be easy, but we've 2 years ago, Clay and I talked about starting this process to where we are right now today, and where we got to yesterday morning. Myself, Clay, and Jerry Caldwell. Yeah. So anyway, it's all good. It's all positive news. Folks run out of patience sometime. Net Reps Mark, Bubba Easley from Unicoi County is on that board. The mayor of Carter County is on the Net Reps board. So when you see them voting at Net Reps, the people that they represent, Unicoi and Carter County and Washington County, are all on that board, and they're making that decision for those 3 people, those 3 folks. We make decisions, you and I, on behalf of Hawkins County and Sullivan County. So, Clay, I'll give you a few minutes to wrap up, and we'll need to get on to other business.
It take very few. I think the key is to keep moving forward. Again, I believe in regionalism, and I believe we can get there until I get to the point where I don't, and it's worth getting exhausted over. I want to say one thing, and I hope I'm just compelled to, and I hope I choose my words well. Sometimes I think, and I try to be self-aware and always improve on what I do, and I try to be very honest and upfront and just here it is, bare my soul. And sometimes I've heard, don't be so negative. I haven't ever tried to be negative. I've tried to be honest, but I always have an optimistic, can-do attitude. I just find you're more successful if you do, and it's easier to approach life that way. You won't. A lot of these conversations that we've seen tonight, words mean things for different people. I think everybody who's working on this on both sides have been working in very good faith and trying to do the right thing, what's good for everybody, and keeping their community at the forefront. I just think you won't see me on social media making disparaging statements about another EDO. I've never had a peer ever say something about my organization publicly negatively. I've never known of that happening until this morning. If people think they're trying to move the regional event forward by grandstanding on social media and criticize me, criticize my leadership, those are dedicated people. Particularly, you guys don't do this for the money. You don't. You guys are. I get paid to do what I do. You guys get paid very little compared to what you do, and I hope people. We're in a weird time in this country, in this world, where decorum has kind of left the building. We're all worried about what's going to happen from a global health crisis. I think here in the Southeast and Northeast Tennessee, I've met some of the best people I've ever met in my life. And for those people who aren't being nice to each other, I think they need to rethink that stance, and that help us get through it.
Thank you, Clay. That's a good way to end. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. Moving on with our agenda, we're appointments, confirmations, and elections. And as I mentioned last meeting, if you were having a committee assignment that you wanted or one that you wanted off of, to let us know. And I'm going to read a list, and then I'll take a motion to approve that list. We want Commissioner Colette George to serve on the Bays Mountain Park Committee. Commissioner Alicia Starnes will serve on the Dairy Inn Advisory Board. Commissioner Gary Stidham will replace Commissioner George as a liaison to the City of Kingsport. And Commissioner Randy Morrell will replace Commissioner Stidham on the Agricultural Committee. And those are all requested by those people. So the floor is open for a motion. Moved by Akers, seconded by Calton and Gardner. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you take the vote on that motion?
Akers.
Yes.
Blaylock. Yes. Broughton.
Yes.
Carlton. Yes. Cole. Crawford.
Yes.
Did he say yes? He said yes. Cross.
Yes.
Crosswhite. Yes. Gardner.
Yes.
George. Yes. Glover.
Yes.
Harker Road.
Yes.
Hutton.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Leonard.
Yes.
I heard him. Locke. Absent. Morrell.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Stanley. Starnes?
Yes.
Steedham?
Yes.
Vance?
Yeah.
And Woods?
Yes.
23 yes, 1 absent.
The motion is adopted.
This goes with number 3, so they'll use that page.
Okay, this language, okay. Okay, the next item up is when you adopted and requested and adopted a private act for financial management of Sullivan County. There's certain things that we have to do along the way, as we put together the financial management team. And one of those things is, and one of the first things we need to do are appoint county commission members as a part of that financial management committee. The original sponsors of the resolution were Commissioner Glover and Commissioner King, and I'm recommending that we appoint them as 2 members of the Financial Management Committee, and also Budget Committee member Larry Crawford. Once this Financial Management Committee is formed, which will be under the direction of our Accounts and Budget Director, Larry Bailey, there will be an additional member of the county committee appointed to that financial management committee. So there will be 4 commissioners on that committee. The other members are appointed by virtue of the act itself, which if I name them all, but among them are the director of schools and the commissioner of highways and the mayor. So we will have additional appointments to the budget committee when we're finally to the end. I don't want to ask members to do double duty. So there will be appointments to the budget committee. And as we were organizing the other night, it was suggested we might elect officers, but we're going to hold that off till we get to final budget committee. And I would say that financial management committee provided for in the private act is in no way replaces the obligations and the authority of the budget committee of the Sullivan County Commission. So I would make those recommendations to you, Commissioner Glover, Commissioner King, and Commissioner Crawford, to be appointed to the Financial Management Committee. The floor is open for a motion. Calton and Gardner seconds. Now we'll have discussion. Any questions y'all have, and if I can't answer them, I'm going to ask Mr. Bailey to answer them, because that act is a little bit complicated. Todd?
Thank you, Mayor. I was, and this is new, and we're all learning the dance. It's music's playing. I'm good with that. I was kind of hoping to see David Akerd be somehow involved in that. I didn't know if that'd be an option to add another one or not, or how that would be.
Well, there will be one added in the future.
Okay.
There will be an additional person, and that nomination will come to you.
Oh, okay.
To the commission.
Thank you.
Recommendation, and I would say that y'all don't have to always accept my recommendations, but and certainly if that nomination, when we get to that point, that would be a nomination. That's a good point. Okay, any other questions? We have a motion and a second and discussion. Seeing none, I'm going to have to remember to look at this thing now because when you push your button, it comes up here, and I'm still out here looking for red lights. So pardon my retraining period. Without any further discussion, we're ready to take the vote. Madam Clerk, would you take the vote on the motion?
Akerd?
Yes.
Blaylock? Broughton?
Yes.
Calton?
Yes.
Cole? Crawford? Did you hear? Crawford? Cross?
Yes.
Crosswhite? Gardner?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Glover?
Can't vote for yourself, can't vote for nobody else.
Only if you need it.
Harker Road?
Yes.
He said yes. Hutton? Jones? King?
Voting for Mr. Crawford and,
You can't split the vote, can't split the vote, just go ahead and abstain. I think we're gonna have enough.
Leonard?
Yes.
Locke? Morel? Pierce? Stanley? Starnes? Stidham?
Yes.
Vance? Woods?
Yes.
Thank you. Would anyone like to change their vote? 22 yes, 1 absent, 1 abstain.
Motion is adopted. Next up, the approval of commission minutes from a previous meeting. That's been spread on your desk and sent to you electronically. Do we have a motion for adoption? Commissioner Gardner and Commissioner Morrell move for adoption as published. Any discussion, corrections, additions? Seeing none. I'm looking at my screen. We will vote, Madam Clerk.
Akerd? Blaylock? Broughton? Calton? Cole? Crawford?
Yes.
Cross? Crosswhite? Gardner? George? Glover? Harker Road?
Yes.
Hutton? Jones? King? Leonard?
Yes.
Locke? Absent. Okay. Morel? Pierce? Stanley? Starnes? Stidham? Vance? And Woods?
Yes.
Would anyone like to change their vote? 23 yes, 1 absent.
Having received necessary majority of minutes are approved as published. I will note, that since most folks are back in their regular seats, I'm going to ask for a special dispensation at our next commission meeting so that you may use the voting machines and vote at your desk, and we will call the roll on those who are with us electronically. Now, I don't know what I'll have to do to get that, but if it requires going to the governor, I will do that. Because I know the clerk will appreciate that, and I'm assuming you will. Okay, next up, the approval of notary publics. Madam Clerk, would you read the list of applications for notary public of Sullivan County, Tennessee?
Alan Lee Bowman, Carrie Ann Bowman, John Michael Britton Jr., Christopher Glenn Cameron, Lisa D. Cook, Catherine M. Crosby, Janet P. Curtis, Karen R. Dale, Lori Danielle, Leslie Danehart, Savannah Danielle Huffman Duran, Jenny A. Everhart, Michelle L. Fleener, William Joel Hedges II, Jenny Haran, Stephanie Renee Kirk, Shannon Knutson, Libby Larice Marcus, Susan F. O'Connor, Ramsey Page, Charles Brandon Parker, Heather N. Pugh, Helen Qualls, Jacob Samuel Roberts, Donna A. Roberts, Susan Robinson, Angela Jo Rogers, Beth Snap, Crystal R. Steffi, Cynthia Thomas, Deborah K. Thompson, Alicia R. Trivett, Rebecca White, George M. Williams, Casey Wooden, Samantha Catherine Geary.
You've heard the list. Any objections? Have a motion for Commissioner Cole, second by Gardner, Broughton, and Starnes to adopt. Any discussion? Seeing none, we got to do it one more time. Madam Clerk, would you take the vote on the motion to adopt the list of notary publics?
Akerd.
Yes.
Blaylock. Broughton.
Yes.
Calton. Cole. Crawford.
Yes.
Cross.
Yes.
Crosswhite. Gardner.
Yes.
George. Glover.
Yes.
Harker Road.
Yes.
Hutton. Jones.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Leonard.
Yes.
Locke. Burrell. Pierce. Stanley. Starnes. Stidham. Vance. And Woods.
Yes.
Would anyone like to change their vote? 23 yes, 1 absent.
Motion is adopted. Next up, public comment. If we've had a sign-up sheet, Commissioner Cross is on his way to retrieve that. Nobody's on the sign-up sheet, so I will ask now if anybody in the audience would like to address the county commission at this time, I would be happy to recognize you. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Next up is amendments to the zoning plan, and we have about a 2-hour zoning that we'll be doing here. I see those eyebrows go up. We actually don't have any zoning tonight, so I just wanted to see if I wanted to see how that'd go over. Okay, the resolutions agenda. I'm going to. We're going to vote on the consent agenda, and as you approved last Thursday night, the consent agenda has item 4, 5, 6, and 7, and that's. Does anybody object to any item on the consent agenda? Seeing no objections, floor is open for motion. Commissioner Gardner, Commissioner Akers, Commissioner Cross, second. For adoption of the consent agenda as published. Proper motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Madam Clerk, would you take the vote on the motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Akerd.
Yes.
Blaylock. Broughton.
Yes.
Calton. Cole. Crawford.
Yes.
Cross.
Yes.
Crosswhite. Gardner.
Yes.
George. Glover.
Yes.
Harker Road.
Yes.
Hutton.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Leonard.
Yes.
Locke. Morrell.
Yes.
Pierce. Stanley. Starnes.
Yes.
Stidham.
Yes.
Vance.
Yes.
And Woods.
Yes.
Would anyone like to change their vote? 23 yes, 1 absent.
I've received the unanimous vote. The consent agenda is adopted. Now on to our regular agenda, resolution agenda under old business. First up, Commissioner Starr, you're just seeing how long we've been here. If anybody needs a break to walk around. We haven't been here that long. Commissioner Starr, you're recognized.
This resolution is to form a committee to review the employee handbook. Just talking to some employees, I know with the education department, we have our own, and everything is spelled out exactly the way we're to follow it. I'm not trying to micromanage. I'm not trying to rewrite the laws or anything. Here's just some questions I've got after talking with employees. At one time, the highway department could only take full day, but that was changed in 2011 by resolution, and now they can take half a day. That's not in the handbook. Medicare insurance supplement, it just says in there, qualifications to be found. Employees need to confirm qualifications and exact terms of this benefit. Why can't that be in there? Social media is not mentioned at all in here, and that's a big thing now. I know in some areas people are losing their jobs for things that they put on social media. I just think if we had some people to sit down and look at it and to, more than one set of eyes is always better, I think. And I know we can't tell elected officials what to do, but I think if we had an employee handbook that at least all our employees could go back to, then I think we would be better off. It'd be better for them, I think.
Commissioner Starnes renews her motion for adoption, seconded by Commissioner Broughton. We're open for discussion.